Good morning, everybody. As always, Jay here from Just Technics. Hope you're having a fantabulous Tuesday morning. So this video, I know I did one yesterday, but I'm doing another one purely for the fact that everyone needs to know exactly how to do it. It's been asked tons of questions. So people are asking me now how you box up a Technics turntable or any turntable. What's the best way? What do you use? How do you do it? Because like everybody else, no one wants to receive a turntable that's damaged or get any confirmation from email from me or a phone call to say, you know, Jay, I've sent this out. What's the score of it? And I go, your tone arm's knackered, your arm's moved across, the weight's been moved, you know, the head shell's fallen off, 45 adapters flung across, lid smashed. So this video, you're going to watch me box up live a Technics 1210. So the one I've got on my desk here at the moment, right there, is going back to my customer. He's asked me when it's going to be ready for collection, and the truth will be tomorrow. It's going to be boxed up today and ready. Most couriers, if you book them up, because quite a good fact is, if you book up with p4d.co.uk, they usually, if you do it through Parcel Force, or I think it's most of them on there, as long as you book it up before 12 o'clock, they usually pick it up the same day. So it's worth noting as well. So if we get this done quick enough, I mean, it's not going to happen now. It's before 12, it's 20 to 12. Either way, we'll still get this done. So this 1210 Mark II has been fully modified by me. It's been serviced, been carbon wrapped, white LEDs, blue LEDs. You've seen it all yesterday. I'm not going to go through it again. So what do you need, and how much is it going to cost you? So this is the truth here, guys, right? So I'm going to put this, my iPad, I'm going to put this on my flexible stand I've got on the side of my workbench in a minute. You'll be able to watch exactly what I do. So you will need a double or triple walled cardboard box is the first thing. Now, people that tend to send their decks to me, they send them to me in the boxes they've received the decks in, which sometimes can be okay, like the one in the corner here. This turntable box here, or this box here with all the black wrap around it, has got bubble wrap, etc. inside it. It's not too bad, but that's a typical cash converters style box. It's all right, but I'm not going to risk sending it back. You spend all the money getting this stuff done. It's had a new arm, or a new replacement arm section put on as well. The last thing I'm going to do is send it back to him in an old box. So we've got a brand spanking new box here, double walled, as you can see, proper thick bit of kit. I'm going to give you the measurements as well, so you've got everything. So, because I've got a lot of people I'm speaking to at the moment that want to send their decks to me, that want to know the sizes. So this confirms everything. And once I've done this video, I'm also going to edit it out, and I'll be putting it on YouTube too. So anybody that messages me saying, Jay, how do you send them? How do you package them? It's all going to be on YouTube. So if you're watching from YouTube, oh yeah, all right, it's all going to be on there. And I may also do a link to my website as well on there. But either way, so the boxes. Now, whenever I buy packaging, I tend to buy them by, let's have a look, it's either 10 or 14, I think, in a box. I've got two more boxes left now. For the boxes themselves, you can get them either on Amazon, which sounds ridiculous, but I tell you what, guys, the boxes, they do some really good stuff, especially double and triple walled stuff. So Amazon's your first point of call, because you can get them quite good, and the next day delivery. Now, the reason I say this is classic bubble wrap. Bubble wrap, big bubbles or smaller bubbles, all on Amazon, 14 quid for 100 metres with 50 centimetre wide. More than enough than you're going to need. Plenty big enough as well. You can triple wrap it, whatever you want to do. So, boxes are going to cost you a couple of quid each. If you've been being funny, if you're going to use them for something, maybe buy a few, it may work out cheaper. They usually do if you buy them by bulk. If not, buy a couple and pay about $5 for delivery. But it still works out cheaper. If you're going to buy flight cases, buy them, but don't buy the cheap ones. The problem is, it's going to work out cheaper for you to box it yourself than any flight case or any box. You can buy the purpose-made boxes for Technics by Master Sound. Ryan does some fantastic stuff on his site. If you've never heard of Master Sounds, please check him out on Google. You'll find him on there. He's made these purpose-made Technics boxes. I've reviewed them before in the past, come with all the internal foam packaging sections as well. So your platter, the base of the deck, and the lid, if you include the lid, they're all separate. There's no chance of them getting damaged, and the boxes are triple walled, really good quality, and they're fantastic. They work out, I think it's £50 delivered for the pair. So this will work out cheaper, and it will be just as good, but you need to bear in mind a couple of things. If you're going to send a turntable to me, this is what I'm doing. Obviously, I know what to do sending this back to you. When you guys send turntables to me or to anybody, All right, I'm going to add that in, not just to me, anybody, for any function, whatever you're going to do. Do not include the lid, all right, the Perspex lids. If you want to see what happens to Perspex lids, if you send them to me, I'll give you an example right now. Give me just a second. Here we go, right. If you send a deck to me with a Perspex lid and you don't secure it properly, or you tape it like this guy did, this is what happens, right? So, and it's a pain because these lids range from 35 quid if you're lucky, quite scratched up, to 140 quid brand new, I think it is, 130, 140 quid if you can still get them. So you need to be very, very careful. Don't risk it. Just leave them at home. I know you're tempted to give me everything with them, but don't. I'm not servicing or customizing your lids. Keep them off the deck. It's one less thing you've got to worry about. It's flimsy, it's Perspex, they're made for dust covers. Don't want to be throwing them around in a box, and certainly not with couriers, all right? So be very, very careful. The next thing, which a lot of people still include, if I can find one, I usually have a few of these like dotted about, but I can't seem to bloody find it. Where are they? Hang on, guys. Mr. Organised, as always with my videos, eh? Well, anyway, I'll just bloody tell you, I can't actually find first time ever, I actually can't find one. Well, the adapter, 45 adapter, all right? That's the next thing, the 45 adapters. If you don't know what it is, it's this. Let me just quickly turn this around. Is this 45 adapter, guys? You do not need to send these to me. I get these all the time. Everyone gives them to me with their bloody turntables. Yes, it looks good when the decks are finished. If you really must have a picture of it with the adapter, I can put an adapter on for you and then take it off after. But don't send me these, all right? Because it's another thing that can fall off your deck and move around. And 9 times out of 10, these are never taped down. No one ever tapes them down. I don't understand that. You never tape them down, guys, do you? There's that. Also, the platter is another thing as well. Hang on 2 seconds. Let's quickly say hello to you guys. I know you've got a few people watching here. So we've got Christian, how you doing, mate? There's Mr. Knight. Hello, my friend. Right, yes, actually, Lee, very quickly, while I have got you on here, I have found some links for you for your KRK. You're going to be one happy chappy, and I will speak to you a little bit later on by message, mate, all right? Mark Singleton, how you doing? Ingy, Stephen Ingram, how you doing? Mr. Curtis, Jack Skills, how you doing? Mark Dyer saying oi oi Jay, oi oi back to you, Mark, and Lawrence Buckingham. Good to see you all watching. Right, anyway, so what do you need? Like I was saying before, box, bubble wrap, lots of brown tape, okay, and time. Don't just do it quick because you want to get it done quick. It doesn't work. Most people I deal with are so excited to get this stuff done, they'll put it in a box any old way they can just to get it to me so they can get it back. It's not a 5-minute job for me to do it. I'd rather you do it and take your time, and at least you know it's done properly. It's going to be safe. Nothing's going to get damaged, okay? So let's quickly talk over the parts that need to be looked over. So give me just a second. So we've already established not to include the lids, all right? Do not include these. I don't care what anybody says. Don't tape them down. Don't include them. They break, and when they break, that's what happens. You've all seen these before, from probably radio station decks to maybe you got them at home and they're broken, but just be bloody careful, guys. Don't send them to me. And like I said a second ago, 45 adapter. You don't need to send it. If you really have to send it to me, please put some tape over it to secure it down. Next thing, platter. Let me quickly sit down so I can do this properly. Excuse the mess, guys. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. Right, the platter is the next thing. Looks lovely, this does. Anyway, platter. Very, very important. Now, there's a magnet that runs around the outside of the platter underneath. Okay, it's a brushless motor, so there's a platter that goes round. All right, which is a magnet. Sorry, a magnet that goes around underneath. Now, you need to be very careful, because like I explained to people before in the past, if magnets drop, when you were at school and you dropped a magnet, the teacher would tell you off, wouldn't he? And why do you think that is? Because it ruins the bloody magnet, okay? Make sure, because you've got to bear in mind, I'm going to clean this up and do my thing with this anyway, so don't worry too much about taping it, all right? Make sure you tape this down. A lot of people take it off, okay? If you're going to take it off, put it underneath your turntable, all right, facing upwards underneath with bubble wrap as well, so separately do that. But I wouldn't worry too much for the minute. If you're going to send it to me, big old bit of tape or some gaffer tape or something going here. You want one here as well, and you also want one here. So you've got 3 sections, so that platter does not move, because the last thing you're going to want is this platter coming up during transit. That is a lot of money's worth. If that comes loose, you chip your platter, and not only will you do that, you'll damage your buttons, you'll scratch everything, you'll chip your cabinet. There's a lot that can happen with it. Right, next thing, your rear weight. Obviously include this with it because you're going to need it to calibrate. Of course I have got my own, so don't worry too much if you haven't got that, but like I've just said, please unscrew them. All right, take them off, separately wrap them. It's exactly the same thing. So if you've got cartridge and stylus, for an example, right, these 2 things here, don't stick it on here and send it in the post, because there's every chance that if anything happens and you haven't wrapped it properly, this will come loose and you'll damage your stylus. Okay, so wrap the stylus and the counter rear weight separately. All right, so please bear that one in mind. You don't need to put them all together. I'm not going to be playing with it inside the box, am I? So make sure your rear weight's off, the adapter is off, the platter is taped down. Next thing you need to worry about is your arm. This is pretty much, to be honest, this and the platter are 2 of the most important parts on this deck, or any of these Technics, or any turntable, to be fair, it's quite old. This is the most important part, because if you get these screwed, you are buggered, okay? This is bloody expensive, all right? You're looking from anything second-hand. If you're lucky to get an arm like this second-hand, you're probably going to pay about 100 quid minimum second-hand. If you're going to buy one brand new, you need to buy the tube, the gimbal, the rear bracket section, and the assembly under here. That all goes down to, you're looking at about 180 quid, maybe even more. All right, 1200 ones are about 160. So they do range a lot. So do not damage this. And you've all seen what happens with bearings when they go through as well. So again, another reason not to break it. So you have to secure this down. What I tend to do is either, it sounds silly, I know, because not everyone can afford to do it, and I appreciate that, sandwich bag tie, okay, around the bottom of the bracket. So you put your arm down, pop that in, sandwich bag tie around it, twizzle it a few times. It won't move, it will be nice and solid, and that won't move anywhere because they don't weigh a lot. And when you take the rear weight off, it doesn't move at all. All right, don't need anything drastic. Cable tie you can use, and if you really are scared and you really don't want any scratches or anything at all, and you're a perfectionist, pop a little bit of bubble wrap around that and put the tie around that as well. All right, that's all you need to do, guys. All right. Cables as well, you'll see me unplug the cables in a minute. So the cables, you unplug the cables, you're going to bunch them together, you're going to cable tie them round, you're going to bag them separately. Either way, so you're going to watch me now prep the box and get this ready. It's going to be a boring one, but guys, at least you get to see this done. Because I get so many people ask me, I'm getting sick to death of repeating myself, so this just makes, to me, it makes more sense. I don't know what my battery is like on my iPad. Give us just 23%. We should be all right. We should be all right. So let me quickly just pop this on here. Hopefully my iPad will be all right. Out to Leo and Taylor. How are you doing, my friend? Right, let's put this on here. Give us a second. Give me just a second. Right, this is actually quite a good stand. This that shouldn't fall. If it does, I'm not going to be very happy. Right, let's see just how this is going to work. I don't do this all the time with my workbench, so you're quite lucky to see this. Last time I did this was the bodge hunting job. Do you remember the bodge one I did? Let's get that just about right. Lovely. Right, first things first, we know what we're going to do with the turntable. Let's get this box. So what I tend to do with this, guys, because this is how I'm a bit OTT on this. Anyone that does anything packaging rise with me, or I send anything to, you'll all know how bad I am with brown tape, and the first thing you'll say to me is, shit, how much brown tape have you put on, Jay? And there's a reason for it. It's because it's safe and secure and covers everything over. Plus, you've also got the fact that if any water gets to it, you know it's all covered over and submerged in tape. Right, so fold the box completely out. So it's flat usually, fold it all the way out. Flap the inside sections down. Let's quit. Do you know what I'll do? Hang on, let's do it like this. That makes more sense, guys, because now you can bloody see. You don't need it on a desk at the moment, do you? Oh, right, so box. Fold the insides down. Fold the top down. Got it? Tape. the knife, wherever I've put it. Yeah, Lee will tell you, because Lee was quite good with that. Lee is like me with this sort of stuff with tape. Kyle, how you doing? Of course, as with any brown tape, you never find the bloody edge of it. At least this way, let's be honest, if at least with this you can see how it's done and there's no messing about with it, guys, all right? So most people go straight across like that. No, think logically. Do it across like this first. That way the box isn't going to bloody move. And this is so boring me even talking about this, but at least it's being done. So let's do this. Look. So first thing I like to do, keep it sort of so it's level in the middle, straight down, like that. That way your box ain't moving, you know you got it straight. Then 2 more on the edges. This one over here. That's that, right? Then, how you doing, Matt? You alright, buddy? Seen you logged on as well. Do one there. One there. One in the middle, just to cover them both over. Now what I do, I cover every single section. Now you don't have to do this, I do because I know it's done properly. So I cover every single part that you see here towards the edges that hasn't been covered in brown tape, gets covered. There's a reason why I do this. And like I say, boxes when they get wet, as you all very well know, don't like water, do they? So if you cover the whole box over with brown tape, at least you know it's done properly. Right, last bit. Right, so all of that's now covered. Then, next thing, have a guess what I'm going to do next, guys? Go round the sides. So what I'm going to do is to imagine you've got 2 layers of this thickness going round. I build it round the top, so you know the top of this whole box is nice and thick. So I'll do this. If you can see this on there, start on the edge, stick it round. It'll stick to the tape that's there anyway, so I don't know it's a pain, but it'll stick. Make sure it's nice and level. Slap it down like that. Go around the box. Then you've got to do it once side. Bend it and do it to the next bit. Then you've got to go around once, but do it so it's 2 lengths. That's it. Perfect. Then get your knife. It's also good. Right, so once you've done it, go put your hand all around it, make sure it's all pressed down nice and firm. You don't want anything coming loose or risk any tape coming up, just make sure it's all done. You can see we're double wall box, everybody, look, it's nice and firm. Now that is going to be your base of the turntable, basically. So you can see, look, you can see on here. Alright? So crisscross it. So it's like a cross going in the middle. Edges, do the edges. Do it round, then do it twice round the corners. That will be nice and solid. Alright? That's the start. So that is your box just for the time being, guys, right? Next will be prep the turntables. Let's get this turntable ready for prepping. So let's quickly get this unplugged. 2 seconds, guys, just sorting some bits out. Right, here we go. with wrapped turntables, I don't tend to take the platter off, and I do not put tape on the platter at all. Sorry, on the platter to the deck, because it's obviously wrapped. Now it's not going to make it too much of a problem if you do, but I don't. I just don't like doing it because you spent all that time wrapping it, as I do on here, as you can see. And the last thing I want is tape on it. You've got to clean it off. There's no point doing any of that. I'd rather keep it as minimum as possible. All right, just to make sure everything's okay. So, the next thing to do, make sure it's level. All right, sounds silly, but I'll make sure it's level like that. Take the weight off, so we'll take everything off that's already done. So like I said to you before, you don't need the rear weight, you don't need your cartridge, you don't need the adapter. That can all stay off. This you wrap up separately. It's very important that you send that to me, because if you've got any problems with this, I can find it. And it sounds silly, but it does happen. All right, so that's that. Give me just a second. Like I said, it's a very boring video, but once it's done, I'm just checking something quickly, guys. That's better. Yeah, spot on. Right, okay. So what a pain in the arse. Just noticed I had some grease on the inside I needed to clear off. There we go. So, get all the bits to the side that you're not going to wrap. This is very important. So let's start to go on with this, guys, alright? First things first, like I said, you've got the platter. Now, what I'm going to do with this to make sure this is nice and secure, because I'm not going to tape this round because I don't want to rip anything off or risk ripping anything. I'm going to do a sheet of bubble wrap that's going to go across and under, and it's going to be taped quite tight so the platter won't move. And if anything comes off during transit, this won't lift up. That's what I'm going to do with this. There's the arm as well. Like I've said, I'm going to secure that down. So there's not really much you have to secure once you've removed all the small things. It is literally just the platter, the arm, and the cables. So let's do the arm first. Hang on. So what you're going to want to do is either grab a sandwich bag tie or a cable tie. Now I'm going to use a cable tie because I always use cable ties with stuff like this. Right? Cut a tiny bit of bubble wrap. Now I usually have loads of random bits lying about, and at the moment, of course, I haven't. So I've got to get some new stuff. So let's get a tiny little bit of bubble wrap. Cut that. Should be my wooden scissors, which again they've gone walkies as well. Lovely. Let's see if that's going to be enough. That'll be enough. Right. Okay. So bubble wrap. Get yourself. It's way too much than what you're going to need, but look, better be safe than sorry with this, guys. Do this properly. So fold it up. Do it a couple of times. Make sure it goes underneath the bracket for the arm section. Get your scissors, cut it like that. You don't need all of it. Just make sure you've got enough to cover it. Let's just make sure that this is going to be big enough for this cable tie, because I'd usually put thinner. Yeah, that's too much still. Here we go. Oh. No, come on, Jay. It's quite funny, whenever I do this when I'm not doing a bloody video, this goes so easy within a space of a couple of seconds, because I know people are watching on here. Nothing ever seems to work properly. Now you don't need to go to the extreme that I am with this, everybody. You really don't. I'm just a bit of a perfectionist with this, and I make sure it's done differently. Now if I do put a cable tie on, I make sure that the flap, the actual section that you've wound in, goes underneath. But that is tight. You can see that, look, that's not moving, all right? You don't want to do it too much on here, because obviously you've got the pivot here, and if you do it too much, it may put pressure on the pivot, on the bearings, all that jazz, but I wouldn't worry too much about that because I've set them up anyway. So, cable tied down on bubble wrap. It's done. It's nice and secure. That way you know that's not going to move around. It's not going to come loose, and you're not going to break your tone arm clip. That's quite important, that, because it's only a few quid, but you don't want to break it, do you? That's that. Next, let's quickly just see who's watched. So, got Matt Taylor, how you doing? Stuart Wilmot, Craig, how are you? Right, Craig, actually, while I've got you on here as well, I reckon this week, mate, we're in for a winner, and I reckon we'll get everything back this week anyway, but I reckon we'll get you built up for the weekend. That's what I'm aiming to do. So, I'll let you know, buddy, all right? But needless to say, you are going to be one very happy man. Right, so let's get that over here. Next thing, actually, quickly, guys, while I'm on it, bubble wrap. Right, this massive roll of bubble wrap I've got here, 14 quid for a 100 metre roll by 50 centimetre wide. Okay, so there's no reason why you can't get a massive one, and that was from Amazon as well. All right, $13.99 I think it was. No reason why you can't get it. So you only need one of them, and so far I've wrapped that 4 turntables with this. You don't need loads of bubble wrap. So, cut yourself off just under a metre's worth, not under a metre, with bubble wrap. Fold it in like this, and do this. To be honest though, I wouldn't worry too much, because unless you're sending decks to me that have already been wrapped, you're not going to do this. You're really not going to do it. But at least you get to see what I do. You can do this if you want though. So, like that. Then you get your tape. Again, the bloody end of it's gone in. And the knife, oh, that's vanished off too. Cut off a strip of it. Pop it on the end of the bubble wrap. Take your blade, otherwise I'm going to cut your fingers off. Pull it tightly from underneath or holding the top. Move it round and plonk it down. And you can see, if I put some more tape on that now it's done, put a bit of pressure on it while I'm pulling it across there, as you can see. Right. Because it's obviously in one piece underneath, you've got one separate strip underneath, so nothing needs taping underneath. The top's been, you do it once to get it in position, then you pull it and move it tightly, as you can see. And that, guys, is how you secure your platter down if you've got a wrap deck. And because I've wrapped these 2-3 times over the top, you don't need to worry. So that's down and that is down, okay? That's the first thing you do. Second thing now, cables. Now, this deck here is standard. There's not really anything out of the ordinary done with the cables. He wanted standard cables on this, as well as the standard plug remaining as it was, because it was okay. It's a cash converter deck as well, which makes it even better, doesn't it? So I tend to just move it in and do this. Don't do them too tight. You just don't need to do them too tight. All right. Again, because there's no fancy braiding or anything, cable ties will do the job, and of course my cable ties, you know, the bloody side of them. So cable tie. Again. And the plug. Just make sure they're all bunched together. You haven't got to go too mad with any of this. Once these are taped down, they'd be fine. This is more just to make sure they don't move when you're wrapping the decks up. All right, so cable tie. There we go. Sorted. Happy days. So let's get that out of the way. Next step, let's get this deck wrapped. Now you've got to be very, very careful with this because obviously, because this is wrapped, you don't want the corners to get damaged. Now the corners on a carbon wrap, or a lot of these sort of styles, you can see you fold them inwards. You can just about see the difference. Some of them you can get away with cutting down straight. Some of them you have to physically corner them in. They've all been done with 3M primer anyway, so there's no risk of it being unstuck or getting anywhere, so you haven't got to worry. But because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, I like to make sure that things are done in a set way, which is nothing wrong with that at all, is there, guys? Let's be honest. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can either make corners out of cardboard and stick them over, or you bubble wrap them. Now, with your turntables, when you send them to me, because they're going to be wrapped by me, you don't need to worry about corners. Now, because of the way I've wrapped this, I also will not need to worry about it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to wrap this just as any other turntable that I do, that I send back. If this was a standard non-wrap deck, let's do it. So let's quickly move this out the way. I'll get this back on its desk. Let's get some bubble wrap. So again, if you didn't see this a second ago, this massive roll of wrap that I've got was I think it was 13 quid, 13.99. I'm going to get about a meter's worth. Let me get this roll very quickly, hang on. Let's get a meter's worth of this, just under a meter's worth of tape. Lovely. That's that. Bunch it together. Scissors. Lovely. That's the other thing as well. For all the people that go out and they lie it out and they cut it like that, don't bother. Get it the length you want, bunch it together, get your scissors and clip it. It comes out straight anyway, so there's no worries with any of that. Lay it down on your desk or your floor, whatever you're going to do. Get your turntable. We've got here. And slap it just about in the middle of your wrap. Make sure it's not all bunched up underneath or anything. Okay. And it sounds ridiculous, but am I not going to do just one wrap? So don't people turn around and think I'm not doing this right for a start, please. Let's get this old bit. Just notice that. So you're going to put that down, and you're going to take the first half, just like that. Obviously your second half over the top. Get your tape. This is just as a guide, this, you haven't got to worry too much at the moment, just to hold it in place. There we go. So you've got 3 separate sections here that have been taped up. Now some of you are quite lucky because you send them in purpose-made boxes. You don't need to worry about it. It's like Craig, for an example. I sent his decks back in the Master Sound boxes, and because they're purpose-made, you haven't got to do any of this bubble wrap malarkey. It is literally just put them in boxes and tape it around like I did with the bigger ones. So that's 1 row, and that's taped down 3 times. We'll get the tape. Get these out the way like that, just to get them out the way from the middle. You don't want them bunched up, don't want to cut them or anything silly. You then get your corners, bunch the corners in, as if you're wrapping your Christmas presents. If you're crap at wrapping, you might want to get your missus to do it, because it's quite important that you do this properly. It's basically just make sure that all the ends are covering over the turntable, guys. Oh, did you see that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is good tape as well. Ridiculous. Here we go. Right. Right, ignore me if I go a bit quiet for us for a second, guys. So I'm going to quickly get this done, because I don't want you guys watching me and bored out your bloody skull watching me box up some tapes. Just let me quickly wrap this and I'll show you what I've done. Right, that's your first layer done. Go around the edges just to make sure it's nice and it's on there. In fact, no, I won't do that. This is vinyl wrap. I do not want it too tight around the corners. Yeah, we'll leave that. Right, okay. So, just as a first layer, guys, all I tend to do is just make sure that the first layer of wrap is on there. It hasn't got to be too tight because you're going to go over this a few times, as well as the sides. If you put it in the middle of the wrap, flip the corners over, tape the edges and bring them over, as you've seen what I've done here. Exactly the same with the front, and that's your first layer. Cable's the next thing. We should get the cable covered up in wrap. Again, you don't need to. You can put it in a jiffy bag or something else. It's entirely up to you. But I do it with wrap. I know it's done. I ain't got to worry about it. It's done properly again. So, tape off. In the middle. Like that. Bunch it up. Twizzle it round. Like that. And again. I ain't got to go too mad in it, but I'll use my excess tape I've got here just to stop it from moving. There we go. So you get it in a row like that. Stick it over the top of the platter. Some more tape. You'll get through quite a lot of this if you're like me. So in the middle, or in the middle of the cable, but top of the deck towards the platter spindle. Just to hold it down. Do another one. Ain't got to go too mad. Do that one as well. I pretty much do this, guys. If you're having your decks wrapped or anything, this is exactly how your decks are going to come back, unless you use Master Sound boxes. So when you cut your cables or try and cut the wrap, be bloody careful, because you do not want to cut through cables. I've had a couple of people do that in the past because they're so excited to do it, and all that happens is they send them back and I wrap them again. So your cables are all in there. You've seen how I've banded them together. That's that done. Next thing to do, counterweight and stylus head shell. So counterweight's pretty easy. Again, I've got loads of offcuts here of wrap. So all I tend to do is just put it round like that, plop it in the middle, wrap it up a few times. Literally pop that like that, slap that like that. As long as it's attached, it's not going to fall around, you see, it's not going to fly all over the deck. You haven't got to go to the extreme as what I've just done, but again, it's me, isn't it? I've got to do it like that. It's money at the end of the day. I don't want people to get things and they come back damaged. Stylus. Now this is a bit of a weird one with this customer's deck. This stylus is a bit dodgy on this anyway. He knows he needs a new one. I'm still going to go to the extreme like I normally would. Now there's a few things you can do. Let's use one of my Scratch Pro Audio leaflets. I'm sure Ollie will be happy with me for using these, but we'll use one anyway. What you need to do, because obviously the stylus is very important on this, you don't want to get it scratched. Now what I tend to do with this is I will make a hole where the arm sticks out, poke it through and just do that. Now the reason I do it like this is if you look, the stylus, you do it like a triangle, so the stylus is free. So when you take this round, that stylus isn't going to get hit. A lot of people will put bubble wrap over the stylus, they'll put card over it. You've got to think, anything smacks or hits it, it's just going to break your stylus. Doesn't matter what condition these are in, you will get yours back exactly the same way. So again, just to keep it in one piece, we will do that. Then I'll wrap it. Again, I'll just wrap it like that just to keep it in one go. We'll stick it on the other side, make sure it's the right way up, which it is. Wrap that round. Just to make sure it's not going to fall out. Happy days. So, if you're following me so far, we've got rear weight for the turntable. Head shell is in there with its cartridge and stylus in a specific way, so that way it does not get damaged on the way back, even though this bugger is bad anyway. Power cable, RCA cables and ground cable, all there, taped in the middle, not too tight, but it's there. You also saw me do the platter through the middle, so if you've got a wrap deck or a modified deck, you don't want any tape on it, do this and tightly do it, and you'll see just from having it in one layer, that is not moving. You also saw me cable tie down the arm clip with bubble wrap underneath. Again, you don't need to cable tie it, guys. You can use anything you want, as long as you put foam underneath it. But please be careful, because this is the most important part. All right, so that's the first layer. So all we're going to do now is get another meter's worth of tape. We're going to go around this again. So again, you're going to watch me be nice and boring in a second. Cut another meter's worth bubble wrap. I'm going to do this probably 3 times. Let's get out of the way for a second. Who else we got watching while I'm doing this? So Craig, I've said hello to John Cassidy. How are you, John? Good chat every night, mate. Ricky and Krista Clay. How are you doing, Chris? Been a very long time, mate. Good to see you're keeping busy. Did you get back those CDJs? I saw a post about your CDJs being stolen. I'm really sorry to hear that, mate. Hope you got some leads on it. There's a lot of gear going missing at the moment. So again, plonk this back in the middle. Oh, I'm Christian as well. How are you, mate? So yeah, put your deck in the middle again and just wrap it over this time. Wrap it over everything you've done. And again, exactly the same there. Go over it with tape again to hold it down. You'll notice how I'm not putting anything on the corners with this because it's been wrapped. I don't want to put anything on corners because there's a chance that the bubble wrap will wrap against the vinyl, and all that will happen there will cause you more problems. So we'll keep the corners loose, but we wrap it inwards and put tape around it. So here we go. We'll then do another layer of tape here. Who else is still alive and watching this one? I see there's a few people. It had to be done, everybody, because, like I say, I get so many people asking me how you're wrapping. It's getting to the point where I thought, well, do you know what? Let me show you how it's done. That. This bit here that you see sticking out, that's the end of the cables coming through in the back of the deck. Yeah, Anthony, this is actually your turntable, mate. This is your deck. Alright, so everyone that's watching, Anthony Taylor, this is his deck that I am wrapping up at the moment. You've probably gathered that if he's been watching. But Anthony, just to make you aware, mate, because I know I've been saying this on the video, I don't know how long you've been watching for. When you take this out, be very careful when you undo the brown tape, especially this bit here that comes up the middle, because your cables have gotten poked up. So be very, very careful not to cut the cables. I highly doubt you will. I'm pretty sure you're not stupid enough to cut through them, but just be careful. That's that. So we've got 2 layers now. We'll do another layer again, exactly the same procedure as before. So a meter's worth of vinyl, brown tape, bloody hell, got a good wrap even. Get that out of the way. Put that on here. But at least you guys can see that I do not skimp or bodge with wrapping, because it's the most important part. You could spend forever, you spend 2 weeks doing these decks like I do, and all you're going to get back is something that's smashed the buggery, and you really don't want that. Now, when you're doing this yourself, you don't have to go to the extreme like I am, where you're doing it each individual strip. I mean, you can just get someone to hold the deck, and you could go down, just literally just wrap around the deck, couldn't you? Me, on the other hand, I don't do that. I like making sure it's every part's covered. But if you can get away with doing it, it will make your life easier and a lot quicker. But yeah, no fancy LEDs or carbon arms or anything on this video. It's purely just to tell you guys how to wrap. As boring as it is, so many bloody times. Here we go. So that's 3 layers worth of wrap. Now what I'll do with this one is just go from the bit of the bottom top. We'll crisscross this one. Do the same with this. Going down. Nothing on the corners, as you can see. And then the last layer that I'm going to put on, we'll do another layer. But we'll go, it's 1, 2, 3, the 4th layer. We'll have it going this way. It's going to be this way across. So we've done 2 or 3 this way. We'll do it the other way now. Which may not look like a lot, but you haven't seen what I'm going to do yet. So again, move this out the way. Another layer. Now imagine, guys, when you're doing this with 2 decks, how repetitious it is for me doing this when they come back to you. So please send them in flight cases. So again, like that. A little bit of tape to stop it from moving. Flip this over. Not too tight. Let's cut that down a bit. It doesn't need to be that long. My battery is running low, which is bloody typical. See if I can extend the cable quickly. Yes, I can. Happy days. Right. Battery in. And we're charging. Right, okay. The battery's running low there, guys. Just plugged it back in. So, again, cut that bit, excess bit there off I didn't need. That's gone over here. Now some people might think with this, when you do it, you might go overboard, or you get it and go, sorry for putting too much on, but the reality is this: too much packaging, still in some circumstances, is not enough. It's not a bad thing. I'd rather have more packaging on than you need than have something arrive to you damaged and you fit a massive hole because it's got scratched up, or just that one extra layer of wrap didn't do the job, you know. So that is pretty much, with this deck, pretty much how I want it. just for the inside of the deck anyway. Also, before you start anything, make sure that you have got all of the parts to one side that you need, because it sounds really silly, but the amount of times that I've done in the past where I've wrapped up turntables, where I've not taken off the weight, I've not taken off the adapter, or I haven't taped the adapter down. Very, very, very important that you just write yourself a little list, or just look over it and make sure you look at every part that's loose and just go, right, got to take this off, must take that off. There's only a couple of things, guys, that can move around on your deck, but there's those couple of things that move around that can cost you an absolute fortune. So this is basically ready to go in its box, all right? You'll notice there's not a lot of wrap around the corners. There's a lot of wrap, but there's not a lot of tape around the corners. And like I explained to you before, with vinyl, you've got to be very careful. Now, I use 3M vinyl, so it's the best stuff that you can get. 3M and Avery vinyl is what I use with 3M with wraps, okay? If you're getting carbon wraps or camo or any wrap at all, very, very important that you don't put things too tight on the corners of the decks. Reason being is if you have it too tight and the deck's constantly being moved around, what do you think is going to happen between the surface of the wrap and the bubble wrap with the tape around it? All that's going to happen is it's going to rub up against the bubble wrap and the box, and of course it's going to rub your vinyl. So you need to be very careful. But yeah, so that's basically the first stage. So the stage of the deck's now been wrapped. That's now in, as you can see. Doesn't look like a lot, but the next step now is to make sure your box is perfect. So we'll get this out the way in a second. So we'll move that. Move it back on my desk. Obviously, your box will be the next little toy to do. Now, you don't need to use bubble wrap to do this. You don't need to, but I still do because I'm a bit of a perfectionist with this. Where my scissors vanished? Where I bloody put them? With these boxes, guys, you've got to think your deck's going to be in here. Now, this box is perfect for turntables, but you also need to make sure that it's prepped and ready to have it in. Because if I put this over here now, look, I'll show you. As you can see, in this box, if I move it that way, or this way, look, there's all of that space, all of this space here, all around, still free. Because you're not going to have up against the edges, you want it flat bang in the middle, but you also don't want to make sure it's too low. You've got to make sure that the corners are packed. You don't want to have it so that it impacts on the bottom. Now, the easiest way of doing this is by getting, if I find my box of tricks here, is getting this stuff. Literally, if you're one of the millions of people that buys things off Amazon like I do every single week, this stuff is a lifesaver. It comes in all the boxes, it's crumpled up. They always give you too much of it. Just build it up a little bit. Put loads of it in there, and that gives you a nice solid base that's not too hard. It's got some suspension in it, so when it does get moved up and down, the deck's going to move inside the box, but it's not going to smack down hard. So do that. Wrap down as well, just for a bit of peace of mind. That way you know you've got your about quarter of the box is now filled with the paper wrapping. You then got your bubble wrap in there as well, so you know it's covered over the top. Next step will be to put your deck in there. So make sure that there's plenty of room. And you'll see when you put it in, it immediately goes down. So excellent. Corners of the turntable are the most important part now, because the corners are exposed. The top, don't worry too much about, because we're going to wrap that in a very similar way to what I've just done. But the corners now are very important. So, what we're going to do, just to make sure that everything is protected. I tend to get another cardboard box and I'll cut. Let's get this cut, baby. I'll cut the edges, or like basically the top section off a box. I'll cut that off. I'll cut it in half. And what you want to do is cut another half piece, bend it, and bend them inwards. Now you can do it with a ruler. I tend to not worry about this too much. Just bend it in and make a corner. All right. Not a lot of people know how to do that. Just get a bit of tape. Tape it together. So you've got a corner. Now, again, that goes down like that in the corner of your deck. All right. You do not want it tight because, again, like I've said with the vinyl, you don't want it tight. Now, you're using this to get them to me for me to do this. So again, make the corners. Doesn't matter if they're too tight. Not going to cause any damage. With wrap, you need to be careful. So that goes down one corner. And then we've got one side on there. Next one, again, in the middle, bend it up into another corner. There's another way you can do this as well, which is probably what I'm actually going to do, if I'm honest. Be safer than sorry, you can actually, if you lift the bottom of the deck up, you can do it the other way around. So it sits on the deck instead. So you can't actually see this. That's a little this. Here we go. Right, so do it like this, guys. Lift your deck up, pop it over and sit them underneath. And sit them underneath like that. Put them in close. That way you know the corners are not exposed. You've got enough breathing air bit there for them and they're covered over. Now we need to do another one of them, so I'm going to cut the edge off another box. Give us just a second. There we go. I'm going to cut this in half. Like that. And again. Another one. So we've got another corner that's going to go on the other side of this. Now we just need the last one, which I started doing. Now you don't be under the illusion that you need to go out and buy like 12 pack wrap with brown tape, because you really don't, guys. You can do this with a couple. Now this is still the same roll that I started with. I've still got probably a quarter of this wrap left, so you don't need to go out and buy a ton of it unless you really want to. So again, this goes on the other side. Like so. Another effective way of doing this is corner box the foam cuttings from old boxes. If you've got an old telly box, they usually have foam inside them. Cut the corners, stick them in. Another way of doing it. So now, if I do this like that, you can probably just about see it. So the corners of this are now flush inside there with the deck. All the parts that you see, which are down the side gap-wise, we're now going to fill this in. And of course, you know what I'm going to fill this in with. It's not bubble wrap. So you want to use brown tape, not brown tape, cardboard. So again, I've got another box here. So I'm going to cut into more shapes and you'll get an idea of where I'm going with this. So another size box, I've got to cut it, measure it to the inside. Cut it out. Hasn't got to be perfect because obviously it's only to stop it from moving around inside. get it and fold it. Now this is going to be hard because the corrugated section of this is going the other way, but you get the idea. Like I say, it doesn't got to be prim and purple, it doesn't got to look beautiful, it's just got to stop your deck from getting damaged. So again, this section here can go in here, and you're going to keep doing this until it builds it up so much that it doesn't move. You can use anything you want to do this. If you really want to, you can just use bubble wrap. I mean, another way of doing it as well is, obviously when I do the edges you'll see, but you could just cut little bits in and do it the same. The reason I'm folding it against the seam on this is because it makes it stronger. Now you might not think that, but the amount of effort it's taking to bend it to get it this shape. Right. There's another one. Again, we've got a cut it to shape as well. See where I'm going with this now, guys, can't you? So this is starting to get tighter already, which is what we want. You can use any of the leftover bits just to put it in the corners. Might as well, not doing any harm, is it? So again, this is going to be spot on pretty much what I need it for. The one thing you need to bear in mind as well, everybody, is if you're going to do this, when you start adding extra things inside, what do you think is going to happen to the box? With more weight added. So you might need to reweigh it once you've done it. Usually, Technics, in their original box weight's about 14 or 15. I usually say 16 to people, just to be on the safe side if you've got flight cases, because I don't know how you're wrapping them. Most people don't bother weighing them properly either, so it's very hard for me to judge what you've got. And there we go. So, as you can see there, the box I've completely covered it round. It's done my corners. Got another box, I've cut it in separate strips, folded the box over, and I put it around all the edges of the deck. So it's triple wall nearly on the edges. So this deck now won't move. Okay, that's the next thing. All right. Now what do we need to do? So again, I'm going to get another bit of bubble wrap. All I seem to do with this is more wrap, wrap and more wrap. Well worth the money this stuff is, because it just lasts you for ages. Get it, fold it, slap it in, like so, just to make sure that you've got it in nicely. Now what I tend to do after this is put another bit over here, because where your arm is located, wherever I've bloody put it, this is your arm here. So plug, switch, adapter, yep, arm's here. So just to be on the safe side, let's put some more around the actual arm bit. Just to make sure. So again, bigger bit this time. Now I'm going to cut this down, fold that in with the groove, do it like that. And then what I'm going to do is take that, So what I've done now, it doesn't look fantastic because I haven't finished it, but I've basically made a corner that's going to go around the edge. And this sounds, you might be thinking, why do you want to do it? If you think the edge of your arm is here, this harder section here, low battery again, you're having a laugh, I just plugged it in. Hang on a minute guys, what the bloody hell is going on with this? There we go, sorry about that. Yeah, so the edge, I put it on the corner so the arm doesn't hit. Now what I'm also may very well do is I may cut another bit exactly the same and do it on this side so it keeps you a nice level centre for this. So the other section of this box I'm going to do exactly the same with. I'm going to find the section which will probably be about here, cut it inwards. And just do exactly the same as what I've just done. So again, this is the other side. This is going to go down here. So push this out. As low as it can go. Excellent. Now because these two sections are off the side of a bigger box, they're going to both fit in exactly the same level top. So if you look at what I've done here, they are pretty much level. So I've got one in one corner, one in the other. That way you're protected on both. Then we'll do something with the other sides. Let's just quickly do something with that. That's an entire box gone as well. So if you've got loads of boxes, at least you know that's one way of getting rid of it. Let's go to town with this. All you need to do, put them in a ball like that. There's nothing here and there's nothing, it's not going to get hit. These are going to stop it from moving anyway. You haven't got to go too extreme with them. So all we'll use here is just use the remainder of my bit here. Because the corners of this is actually the corner of the box anyway. So don't worry too much. There we go. Just to be safe and sorry, we'll stick something in the middle. Probably haven't got anything in here, have I? No. Okay, let's cut this box then. Excellent, right, that might look quite crude, but once I've cut these sides down and folded them over, you're in for a winner. So all we need to do now, you see where the corners of the box are, all around here, just get your blade and cut down each of these corners. Now you don't have to do this, but I'm telling you right now, it will save you some money with your postage. Because some of these companies don't like picking things up over a certain size, you know. Let's see if we can give you a free sticker as well. What have we got? If I've got any tape left, I'll throw you some decals in at me, but I don't think at the moment I've actually got any left. That's a bit of a strange one. No, oh, that's a bugger. I'll stick it to the outside of the box. Right, so again, just push, fold. You'll see it will go straight over to where you cut the folds in the box. It's exactly what you want. And pop some tape over that bad boy. Of course the tape again isn't going to bloody play ball, for God's sake. Again, go through do the sides first. That, then push down and do the same with this. Tape. This is pretty much, guys, like I did at the bottom of the box, just doing it in reverse, so I ain't going to go too much detail as to what I've got to do with this, because you kind of should already know. Just the case of doing exactly the same thing again. Oh, look at that. I thought we could have got one deck done with a roll, but we just got literally just ran out of that roll. So we got through one roll already. Not bad. Not bad. Do the edges like we did last time at the bottom. Just to ensure that's all over. Almost there, guys. 2 seconds and you'll get to see exactly how it works. Right. Two seconds and I will get this off. Done. When it takes off the thing, I'll show you. Here we go. Right. Oh. one completely over the top, brown taped, packaged up, 1210. Once you've done it, just go around the box, make sure there's no air bubbles or anything. It sounds silly, but you don't want water getting into anything. Now, the obvious thing to bear in mind with this, now you've done it, I mean, look, it's solid, guys. That ain't getting damaged. Touch wood. Make sure that you've got signs on the side saying with the up, and just say, you know, this way up. It sounds ridiculous, but you know what couriers are like. Also, put on the top the address. In fact, if you put the address on the top anyway, they tend to put them that way around, because obviously they can see it and they get an idea it's that way up. But just make sure you go to town on the box stating what part's what, all right? What are you saying there, Lee? Okay, now show us the best way to open it. Yeah, right. I thought I was bad for overpacking things, but that's a work of art. More than happy if my deck's turned up packed like that. Well, there you go, Lee. That is exactly what I do with every single turntable. If you have them wrapped, that's how they come back to you. If you have them, well, if you don't have them wrapped, they still come back exactly the same. But if you buy Master Sounds boxes, they just come back in a box with taped up out the outside like that. But yeah, this is exactly how every single pair of turntables get returned back to customers. It's nice and solid. It's not going to get damaged. There's about that much layers worth of that brown wrapping that you saw, the brown paper, that's about that much. Deck sits on top. You then got the corners, which have been made out of cardboard. You got the outsides of the box made in cardboard as well. And then you got the top section as well, which you saw I made the bigger section out of another bit of cardboard and put one corner on one side, one on the other, and then brown tape with another box over the top. Then you cut down the edges, fold it over, tape across that, and fold the top over and do exactly the same. And that, everybody, is how you package up a 1210. It's the same with any turntable, guys. Any turntable at all. It just, like I say, who's bloody calling me? Oh, bugger off. Same as I say with everything. Just make sure you take your time, don't rush it, and just do it properly. You know, this, just because it gets to me quicker doesn't mean it's going to get done quicker. Sometimes it works in your favour, because sometimes I can get it done quicker. But I quote 3 to 5 days for a service, and it's about the same as well for the wrap and stuff as well. But yeah, just please take your time and do it. I don't know how long I've been doing this video for. I can soon tell you, because I haven't been looking at the thing. It doesn't tell you on the, doesn't actually tell you on the screen of my iPad. Bit strange. It usually tells you, doesn't it? Hang on. Come on, for Christ's sake. Oh yeah, of course it's live, but that should be shown on my page, shouldn't it? Oh, here we go. Hour ago, just over an hour. So it's taken me an hour pretty much to do one deck. Out of that whole thing, I've used one double walled box, which I put the sizes for up on the post. Big old roll of bubble wrap like that, which I've got through probably that much worth of wrap on the outsides, probably about 1 centimetre to 1 inch worth of wrap and a roll. So that's what's been used on that. Brown tape wise, I've got through one, just over one. So you can pretty much 2 rolls for one deck. So realistically, get yourself 4 rolls. So when I said to you don't get 8, get yourself a pack of 6 of them. Get 6 rolls, cost you about 5, I would have thought. Box is going to cost you about, what, 3 quid each. I'll give you the sizes for them as well. And then, like I said, bubble wrap will cost you about 13 quid just to get you doing like that. The rest of the bits, use old packaging. I mean, like now, for an example, guys, I've got shitloads of packaging up here that I've used from different things. But everyone seems to have boxes. Or just go to a supermarket, get some of the banana boxes. They're really thick, actually, as well, like crate-style ones. Anything, just make sure you go to town on the wrap. I like to make sure that nothing can be seen, nothing can be pierced. Couriers can't see what they are, you know. And look, if you're going to do it insured as well, at least you know, peace of mind, you've got it insured for £1,000 or whatever, and your boxes are spot on. That'll go out to my customer, he'll open it up, and you should be happy with that, I would have thought, because I'd be very happy if that come back to me as well. And there we go, everybody. That is how you wrap a 1210. I'm getting a drink now. But yeah, I thought I'd quickly show you guys a video of that. Not quickly, but you know, do a video. I get so many people asking me about it. I thought, you know what, about time you actually see how I do it. I know I appreciate that every single step, you know, I haven't gone too in depth in it because it should be quite self-explanatory, and I can't just stop and take pictures because it just takes too bloody long. But like I said, just to run you through it while I've got you now sitting in front of you, literally, like I've just said, do one layer of wrap and fold it up in about 4 bits. Wrap it around your platter. If you've got any wrap or spray and you don't want to get it ruined, do that. Wrap it around the platter. Tape it nice and tight. That way your platter's secured down. You can tell because it won't spin around anymore. You then get some little bit of bubble wrap. Cable tie around the arm section underneath the base of the arms. Doesn't move, so you know it's nice and secure. Take the rear weight off and take the adapter off. You do not need the adapter on your deck when you're sending it. You do not need the lids as I've demonstrated, and you don't want to send them because they'll get damaged. Okay, take the head shell or your needle and cartridge off of the socket, bubble wrap that. You're then going to wrap that and stick them either side of the on top of the platter. You then get your cables, you wrap them separately, and they go down the middle, and you wrap them. You'll see it all on the video again, guys, if you just joined us. Really, please do take your time doing it. Make cardboard corners for the edges. Use about 4 wraps worth of bubble wrap, making sure you don't go too tight. Of course, if you are using one that hasn't been wrapped and it hasn't been sprayed, you can go overboard with it, you're fine. Do 2 or 3 layers one way, then 1 layer the other. The more you do, the better, because the more it builds it up and there's less chance of it getting damaged or scuffed or anything. Then put the corners in the corner of the deck like I've just shown you. So get a rectangular sheet, cut it in the middle, bend it inwards, and there's your corner. Do it for 4 sections for 4 corners. Build another 2 corners out of a bigger box, put it over the corners, and then flip the box down, tape the bugger up, and you're away to go. Cheers, Anthony. So yep, that's your deck, mate. So you'll be happy with that bad boy. That's now officially ready for collection. So get booking, mate. Get that bad boy out of here and back to you. Vince, how you doing, mate? Took bloody ages to unwrap the other end. Yeah, I remember when I did them. Yeah, because I used exactly the same boxes of these. In fact, from what I remember, Vince, didn't I use... Because you had your boxes, didn't you? See, what I did, guys, with Vince's decks, I internally wrapped up his decks exactly the same as what I've just done there. But put it inside the original boxes, so the corner sections weren't needed because it was nice and tight. But then what I did was, after brown taping around his Technics boxes around the top of the lids, I then put them inside 2 of these boxes as well, so that they weren't going to get damaged, and it was exactly the same. So plenty of brown tape to keep them from being opened. Weighed a little bit, but well worth it. So Vince, I really hope you're happy with the decks, mate. I've spoken to you actually since you've had them done. I hope you like them, buddy. They were a joy to work on, they were. They were very nice turntables. Leave us a review. Leave us a review when you get a chance as well, dude. Go on the recommendations tab, because it's all changed now. Go on there, leave a couple of words on there for us, mate. I really appreciate it, just to let me know what you think. Because obviously every review counts, doesn't it? So awesome, thanks for that, mate. And yeah, that is pretty much that, guys. So that's one freshly wrapped Technics 1210 Mark II in its box. Same with any of them. Like I said, do not include the lid. Do not include the adapter. You really don't need to. If you must include them, make sure they're wrapped. Those lids will get damaged, especially if you're doing it like that. They'll get damaged. Couriers throw them around. Best way to do it is leave them outside your box. Simple as that. Do not wrap them and leave them at home, because I don't need them. And yeah, there you go. That's that. So we've got one deck now done. Luckily, there's only one, because this is a single deck for Anthony. He's not got a pair of them at the moment, although I think there will be another one coming to me at some point. Anthony, that's right, isn't it? So he's looking to get another one. And I'll be doing the same thing again. And again, and again, and again. So there we go, guys. I think that's pretty much that for the time being now. So like I've said, all in all, to get this wrapped, the price you're going to pay will be... Let's work this out quickly so I'll give you an idea, actually. Let's give you an idea on price. Where are we? Samsung calculator. Right, okay. Price wise, you are going to be spending, if you call it £3 per box, so call it £6 for your box. If you're going to pick them up from a local place, usually that's free, you don't pay anything. But if you're going to get them delivered, let's play devil's advocate here and call it a £5. So 6 plus 5. So £6 for the box, £5 for the delivery. Bubble wrap, if you're on Amazon, please do get it on Amazon. They're cheap as chips and well worth it. 14 quid, call it, bubble wrap. Brown tape for 8 of them cost me about 4 quid. So 4 quid for brown tape. That's it. 29 quid. £29 for one deck. So it's going to cost you 29 quid. But bear in mind as well, guys, if you take away 5 quid for delivery, it's 24 quid. So 24 quid, 50 quid all in. So this is the thing you got to look at. These boxes, for an example, that Master Sounds does, takes all the aggro out of having to do this yourself. This, what I do here, is the minimum I'll spend on packaging. So, may look good, it's all nice and secure, it's cost you 25 quid. And in fact, if you pay for the delivery for the box on top, that's nearly 30 quid. It works out 60 quid for 2 of them. Your best bet is to buy 2 of the Master Sounds boxes. He's out of stock at the moment though, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. But it works out the same price. You can take your time, you can wrap them properly, and it's no different. Obviously one's purpose made, one you make yourself. But 25 quid. If you can get the parts cheap, if you've already got tape at home, for an example, that's a 4 or 5 quid you've already saved. If you've got double walled boxes at home, you've already saved yourself another 6 quid plus delivery of the boxes. So really, it's only going to cost you, if you've got the bits yourself, it's costing you bugger all. But you got to think you've got to do that twice for 2 turntables. Then you've got to pay for your courier on top. So it all works up in the end, but the less you spend, the more chance you've got to get it damaged. But if you do what I've done and spend a bit more on the packaging, it'll get there in one piece, done properly, and it'll all be good in the end. And there we go. I did take my slip mat off, didn't I? Yes, thank God for that. So there we go, guys. I'm going to leave that one there. Any questions on any of this at all, please do fire me over a message, as always, on my website or via Facebook. So if you haven't gone on the website by now, where have you been? It's justtechnics.co.uk. Send us over a message on the Facebook page if you really would like to. I'm more than welcome to do that. I'll try and respond back to you ASAP. Otherwise, it will be in the evenings when I get most of my time sitting on my backside in my pants with my cold drink or my cup of tea. So that's when I'm more likely to respond back to, because as you can see here at the moment, there's all of these beauties here, as well as in my cabinet in the corner as well. Lots of stuff going on. So there we go. Fire us over a message with any questions, guys. Want any more help with anything, you know how to get hold of me. Anthony, I'm sure you probably already sent me a message. I know my thing's already gone ding twice on my phone and my iPad, so I'll get back to you shortly. As for everybody else, I say I hope you enjoyed it. It's wrapping up a deck in a cardboard box. So that's exciting as you can get, isn't it? Wouldn't want to do that for a living. But I hope you had fun. I hope you watched it. Cheers, guys. Take it easy, and I'll speak to you guys later. Thanks, guys.